Hello, my name is Gray.
And my name is Crystal.
And this is Busty and Beauties, a supernatural commentary podcast where I, someone who has seen this show several times,
And I, someone who only knows the show through social media, discuss every single episode of Supernatural from start to finish. Also, we are both Asian.
Both Asian. For today's episode, we will be discussing Season 3, Episode 12, Jus In Bello. Written by Sarah Gamble, directed by Phil Segretia.
We sure are.
Yeah. We sure are discussing this episode. Okay, before we start, what did you think about it? Blah, 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 blah.
Well, what I knew about it before going in was that this was generally considered one of the best Season 3 episodes. I knew that it took place in a police station and they would all be besieged by a demon attack. And Sam and Dean eventually get everyone to believe in demons and cooperate with them. I know Henriksen is there, but that he dies. I knew that at some point he got drowned in a toilet. I thought that was maybe how he died, but it was not. Thankfully. God, can you fucking imagine? I knew that Ruby would show up and say that in order to save everyone, they need to sacrifice a virgin, and that virgin's name would be Nancy Fitzgerald, and that she would look Asian, but we found out she is not Asian.
Yeah.
And she is the secretary of the police station.
How did you know this?
How did I know that part?
Yeah.
Probably just, during the, supernatural of color, events, Nancy's there.
Nancy
She's the woman of color.
Fitzgerald. Yeah, Nancy is, I suppose the actress is Latina, right?
Yeah. So she's showed up in some of the events, so
I really
knew
was
about
like, because, how Filipinos look. We all look very different from each other. We could look, East Asian. We could look, we could look, I don't know. I don't even know. We just all look different. So I was in my heart, I was betting that Nancy was a Filipino. I was like, you know what, girl? You could be one of us. Who knows? Unfortunately, she isn't. But fortunately, I am willing to accept her in my heart as a Filipino. She's one of us now. I have claimed her.
Yeah. And I also knew that they exorcised a bunch of demons over the intercom, because I think about that often when I think about what the rules of how exorcisms work.
Aren't you the one who said that, we should just have a radio station on that plays the exorcism all the time?
Yeah, just over and over again. Just tune into it whenever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't get it. If it became a TikTok sound, then everyone would be safe for the rest of their lives.
Literally. Yeah.
So that's what I knew before the episode.
Yeah, but what did you think about the episode?
I think for context, guys, remember when we disappeared for a month? So this is the first recording we've had in a month. So I haven't watched Supernatural in a month. So I feel like I no longer know how to approach Supernatural anymore. I feel like the whole time I was watching it each new thing that came up, I was just like, well, this may as well happen. Okay.
Yeah, this may as well happen. That's for real.
Yeah. I guess I don't see why this episode is so beloved. Because it was just things happened and I looked at them and they were happening. But, maybe they were good. I don't know.
Yeah. I was honestly surprised that Sam too was in this episode.
I know! Sam literally too was in this episode.
Like, every single time Dean would speak and they would pan to Sam, I was like, speak up, buddy. Speak up. Open your mouth. Say ah. And then he would never.
Yeah. I don't get it, but I guess
Sarah Gamble hates Sam.
Yeah, Sarah Gamble hates Sam. And also, I feel like in all the cop ones, Dean gets a bigger role because they're like, oh, here's his time to make all these snarky comments and be so cool. And since Sam is incapable of being funny, like, let's just put him in the corner and don't let him speak.
Sam is literally incapable of being funny. That's so true. Sorry, Sam Winchester.
Sorry, Sam.
You do not have the je ne sais quoi of funniness.
I just can't believe, like, Lawboy is one of his most well-known traits, and he never gets to exercise any of that when they're in police-related situations.
Yeah, well, he was pre-law.
Yeah, you're right. He was pre-law.
I know nothing about anything about the law, and I am also pre-law, so...
Right.
Sam and I are the same.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, let's start the episode. First of all, we have a dance sequence that lasts for so long.
For fucking ever. And all it really does is tell you how much time they spend in each episode shouting exposition at you.
Yeah!
It's just a compilation of exposition.
Oh, I was also gonna say, I thought Bella was gonna be more prominent this episode. For some reason, I thought that. But apparently not.
I didn't know she would be relevant, but she was in the dance sequence a bit.
Yeah, she was in the dance sequence. And also, like, when the dance sequence was playing, I was like, maybe I should delete this. But, like, I was like, where I watch Supernatural, you can't really skip around because if you do that, it will pop up.
You know how legal websites have pop-up ads when you click different places on the screen?
It's not my fault that Supernatural is not in Filipino Netflix, okay? It's literally not my fault.
This is the first time I watched it on Netflix. And by that, of course, I mean I've watched it on Netflix every single time. But perhaps, if that wasn't true, this is the first time I watched it on Netflix because my sweet mates wanted to watch with me, but one of them had COVID, so we did it via Netflix party.
Yeah. How was that experience? Was it truly... Did it make Supernatural better?
Watching it on Netflix? No.
Yeah. No, unfortunate.
Or watching it with friends? A little bit better. Like, at least everyone was like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen.
So, we begin the episode with Sam and Dean going into a motel room, and it's so intense. They're hunting Bella down. And I was like, fascinating that our last episode was Mystery Spot, and they discussed Bella a little bit there, but with no real sense of urgency.
Yeah.
So, the fact that they are here now, and they're like, oh, we're sneaking into a room, we have guns up, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, that's so urgent. At least they have realized their priorities in the middle of Mystery Spot and Jus In Bello.
I think it's because this was originally supposed to be before Mystery Spot, so the trying to find the cult thing was going to be more continuous.
Yeah, I got it.
This is when writer's strike started really affecting the writing and the ordering of the episodes. Yeah.
So, where did you learn that information?
From, like, the wiki. There's the page on the writer's strike.
We should probably read the wiki more.
Yeah.
I mean, should we? Maybe you should do it, and then I won't. and then you can share information. Wow, I'm putting all the burden of free reading to you. I'm so
of course,
sorry.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anyway, they enter, and there's like wigs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like terrible wigs too.
Yeah.
These are not human hair or whatever
she can
good wigs are made out of.
like virgin hair wigs. Like she's allowed to. She has the money. I don't get it. Also, I think there were blue jeans in one of her cabinets. In what world would Bella wear blue jeans? I guess for a disguise, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
And then, the phone rings. Dean picks it up. It's Bella. And Bella's like, oh, they're kind of flirting. Is the situation. Yeah, I feel like.
A little.
Yeah, Bella's like, oh, what happened to your banter? I miss it. And Dean is like, I want the cult back. I and Dean is like, you're such a terrible person. You're gonna sell it to the highest bidder. What's wrong with you? And Bella's like, you don't even know me.
Oh, I love the Bella setups. I love that we don't know about her demon deal until later. Oh, I love her so much.
Yeah. And Dean is like, I know I'm gonna stop you. And Bella goes, well, that's, what's that? Well, that's tough words for a guy who can't even find me. And Dean's like, we'll find you, alright. And then Bella releases the information that she prepared for them. Like, basically, she trapped them in that room. Mm. She, like, set them up so that they can be caught by the police. And at which point, the police enters and they make Sam and Dean go on their knees and on the ground and stuff. And somebody enters. Victor Henriksen gets the foot up POV. And I love that. Yeah. Love that.
He's looking good. Good for him.
Good for him. He goes in and Sam and Dean look up and they're like, oh my god, it's Henriksen. And that's how our what do you call this? Preview? Cold open?
Cold open?
That's how our cold open ends.
Yep. So, what are your thoughts on Bella calling the cops on them? I feel like the only time that the cops have been called on hunters before was when Sam called them on Gordon, right?
Yeah. I think it's below the belt.
Yeah. It's a little mean. It wasn't cool of you, Bella. That was mean.
I mean, they saved her life. I think maybe she's thinking, like, they can get out of it. This is just to delay them. But she must know about Henriksen.
I don't know if she does know about Henriksen.
Yeah, they never sat down and had beer together and talked about their FBI watch list status.
Yeah, though, I mean, she probably did background research on them, so she might know already. But yeah, it seemed like the way that she was phrasing this, she just saw this as a delay, not necessarily a way to kill them, because they would probably end up getting death penaltied in the worst case scenario, right? But yeah, I mean, also Dean has in the past, every time Bella has pissed Dean off, he tells her, like, I'm seriously after this going to track you down and murder you. So maybe at this point, Bella's like, me taking the cult in order to save my life from my demon deal, like, I need that. And I think that Dean is not going to forgive me for that one, so maybe I do need to put him down.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, but yeah,
I still think it's a bit much.
It's kind of mean.
It's mean. They're gonna be like, if it happened the way Henriksen wanted it to happen, they would have been in solitary for like forever.
Yeah,
it's just that's mean.
Yeah. not
That's all I
very
have to say
nice.
about Solari.
Yeah,
That's
this is not very nice.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. But also, I do feel like this trick should be used more often. I feel like the next time they're after a werewolf, the werewolf should just call the cops on them. Like, I don't see why this isn't a weapon that's used against them more often.
No, exactly. The werewolves are allowed to call the cops on Sam and Dean. That's my hot take.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, but
that's
Bella,
fine.
no.
Bella, it's a bit
Yeah.
much. Because her life isn't being actively threatened by them quite yet. So, we cut to the police station. And we're in, like, cop show mode again, where Henriksen is talking to the local sheriffs and prepping the cells for Sam and Dean. We find out that this is a really small town and they only have, like, 4 cops. And they have one person in the holding cells who's a man who is arrested for being drunk in public. So, Henriksen releases the guy in order to make room for Sam and Dean. And yeah, we find out that a tip was called in. So yeah, Bella called in an anonymous tip to trap them in there. It's so fun. And the, like, sheriff guy tells Henriksen, "This ain't my first rodeo," and Henriksen says, "You've never been to a rodeo like this before."
Why is it so funny?
I don't know, it's just such a stupid line.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Right. And Henriksen starts going on about how dangerous they all are. Well, Sam and Dean are. He calls them Hannibal Lecter and his half-wit little brother. Which
Sam is... What is...
Yeah, like, he thinks that Dean's the smart one.
Yeah, that's mean.
Yeah. First, I mean, yeah, he's being ableist and shitty, but also, this is the first guy who thinks Dean's the smart one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's blinded by Dean's snarkiness.
Yeah.
Maybe because, like, every single time they show up, like, Dean is the one he talks to.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
so, like,
true.
maybe he thinks Dean is the brains of the operation because of that. And Sam is just... Like, didn't he have the perspective? Like, every single time Sam and Dean get caught, the person who catches them has the perspective that Sam is just the, like, unwilling someone who follows Dean. Like, just got influenced type situation.
That's true.
So maybe he does think of Sam
like,
that way.
Oh, he's a good guy because he went to college. So
he was in Stanford.
Yeah, so he could not do bad things on purpose. So yeah, I guess so. He calls them, like, Satan-worshipping nutbag killers, and the secretary, Nancy Fitzgerald, sort of starts, like, rubbing her cross necklace at this. Like, she's clearly very afraid at the idea of these evil Satanists coming into her police station. And yeah, Henriksen eventually gets the local cops to cooperate. And he has Sam and Dean brought in. They're handcuffed and they're also, like, chained together at the feet.
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
So they can't run?
I mean, like, they could totally, like, 3-legged race their way out of this.
Just, like, counting, like, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I can see that.
Right. And yeah, they're in. Dean's being snarky per usual. Nancy's afraid of them. She's rubbing her rosary, and Dean tells her, "We're not the ones you should be scared of, Nancy." What is the point? Why? Why is he talking to her? Leave her alone.
Leave her alone. And later he, like, I don't know, flirts with her or something. Yeah, stop it, Dean.
Stop it! Like, leave her the fuck alone. Stop it.
Literally,
honestly,
stop it.
I'm more mad at Sam for, like, how he treats Nancy this episode, though. Like, if you want your rosary, just fucking ask. Stop being a dick.
Can I have your rosary?
Yeah, Sam and Dean are so unlikable this episode.
I think maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it that much. I feel like there's not enough Sam and Dean. Like, there's not enough them. You know what I mean? Like, they're there. Yeah. But, like, there's no emotional resonance for the characters. Yeah. They don't get to speak their mind. Mm-hmm. Like, nothing happens.
Right.
What even happens this episode?
Just action, I think. It's just action.
Yeah.
Right, like, I know we complain every time they have their, like, little I'm so sad conversations with Impala, but we need at least one an episode.
Yeah, exactly. We need, you know, that post that, like, I think it's a TikTok or a post or whatever, that, like, at the beginning, it's like, Supernatural starts. Dean, maybe we should talk about it. No, Sam, we're not gonna talk about it. Or, I'm not even upset. And then, like, the episode ends and Dean is like, Sam, I think we should talk about it. I think I am upset. And Sam's like, thank you for telling me, Dean. We need that. We need that.
Exactly. That's the heart of Supernatural.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
sad.
Right.
But okay, I feel they're so annoying because I feel like in the Folsom Prison Blues or whatever, like there's also like the one woman who's the like public defender, and they also need to try so hard to make sure that she thinks that they're like nice and fuckable or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they just hate the idea of anyone thinking that they're not nice and cool, and they just really waste a lot of time and like the very little explanatory power that they have just working on that. And it's annoying. Like, shut up.
Yeah, like, for example, later Sam asks for a towel. Just say we need a towel because my brother got shot. He didn't have to say, like, we're the good guys.
We're the good guys. Just look. He says, "Look at us. We're not the bad guys." Like, what do you mean there, Sam? What are you trying to indicate? Are you trying to be like racist and or classist? I don't understand what you're going for. Look at me. I'm like white and young, and I'm so pretty. Like, I would never do anything wrong. Like,
he would be like, would a bad person do this? And then he does a hair flip. Yeah.
Literally. God. I don't know what they think is intrinsic to their faces that makes it clear that they're good people.
Yeah, I think they do this once before with the woman who was like, my necklace.
Was like look in my eyes. Like,
yeah, no, the public defender, yeah, it was the public defender. Like, look into my eyes and tell me.
Yeah, look into my beautiful long lashes. Would I ever lie to you? I don't understand. Yeah. So they're shoved into their prison cell, and Dina almost trips Sam by, like, going in the opposite direction as him, and there's the chains. So, they do some, like, really long shuffle thing to try to sit down.
It's so bad. Like, it's not even funny.
Yeah. And, you know, they just sit in the throes of agony.
Back outside, Henriksen is talking on the phone with, like, some guy, his boss, I presume. And he's saying, like, we're gonna have them in Supermax by morning. We're gonna take a bus. Did he say he's gonna take a bus? Armored bus loaded with men.
Yeah.
So that's different. That's not a bus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally was sitting here like, they're gonna put them in a bus? But yeah, they're
Public
gonna put them in an
transportation.
armored bus. Yeah. Steven is like, no, fuck no. Let's send the chopper. And
He also makes a joke about how Henriksen's headstone is gonna say couldn't catch the Winchester boys. And I guess that's
and maybe it did.
semi-true. Yeah, maybe it does say that.
Anyway, Henriksen hangs up and they have this bit where it's like, we don't have a helicopter pad. How is the chopper gonna go here? And Henriksen goes, well, just make it land in the parking lot. Just clear the parking space. Which I thought was funny. And also could be like, when they're investigating it later, like, oh, the reason why it exploded is because they didn't have a helicopter pad and they forced it anyway. Anyway, Henriksen goes into the cell where Sam and Dean are. But Sam is literally not important in this scene.
Yeah, I literally wrote down Sam 2 is in this cell.
Yeah, it's so funny because at least now he is in the room. Because when we originated this joke, he was thrown into a bank vault and literally, like, nothing happens to him. But at least now he's in the room, so we're getting increments of improvement.
Yeah, maybe next time he'll even talk.
Yeah, maybe next time he'll say one sentence. Henriksen tells Dean, like, you know what I'm trying to decide? I'm thinking about what I'm gonna have for dinner later. Maybe lobster? Maybe a steak? Fuck, what if I get a surf and turf? I love it.
God, he's such a loser.
Such a loser. And he says, like, I have a lot to celebrate because seeing you two in chains. And Dean goes, ha, you kinky bastard. We don't swing that way. And it's like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
That was my reaction. I literally went, ha 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 ha. Yeah. Yeah, and Dean is like, well, maybe don't bring out the butter yet because you remember how last time you couldn't catch us at the bank, you couldn't keep us in jail. And then Henriksen admits that, like, he screwed up back then, but he's ready now. You're gonna go to a super maximum prison in Nevada. You're gonna be isolated, soundproof, windowless cell. And then he goes, like, between you and me, it's probably unconstitutional.
Yeah,
and he says it with such a huge grin on his face. Fun! Yeah. That's so fun.
Yeah, love that. Yay. Yeah. I love the FBI. I've never had a problem with it.
Yeah, I never had a problem with the FDI. FDI? Well, that too. Anyway, Dean's smile falters, and Henriksen goes, what happened to you, that smug smile, Dean? Why am I doing this to Henriksen? Why am I putting this voice on for Henriksen? I'm so sorry, my dude. You die at the end of this episode.
Yeah, also, well, Dean's smile, it specifically disappears when Henriksen says that he and Sam are never going to see each other. He won't see Sam again.
Yeah. Aww. I forgot about that. So sad. They would never see each other again.
Yeah.
And Dean insists still that Henriksen is wrong. And Henriksen is like, oh yeah, monsters. Your dad brainwashed you, you know. And he said, like, your dad taught you in a bad place.
Yeah,
Does that mean what I think it means?
Yeah, no, it does mean what you think it means. That's not really a comment you should be making flippantly.
Yeah, but I think, like, Henriksen at this point thinks of Sam and Dean as, like, less than human. So,
yeah,
like, he thinks that this is something he should be allowed to say.
Yeah.
Henriksen. Yeah. And then Dean obviously gets upset at this. And Henriksen is like, I don't care about your sob story, you know? Like, not everyone becomes a killer, so that's on you. True.
True.
He goes out. And the chopper is there. And Steven the FBI agent he was talking to earlier, is also there. And hands him, like, bureaucracy papers. Just papers that he needs to sign. And he's like, while you're signing all that, I'm gonna go and talk to the boys.
Yep. So he goes into that area and he introduces himself. And then he suddenly takes out his gun and shoots Dean in the shoulder.
Yay!
And yeah.
We're so mean. We're so mean.
And there's a whole scene where, like, he's shooting at them through the bars of the jail cell. And there's a fight scene where Sam, like, wrestles him through the cell bars and then eventually starts reciting an exorcism. And we get, the world's best special effects of Steven's head, like, moving around rapidly. And then the smoke leaving his body, and the gun falls from his hands inside of the cell. And Henriksen and some other random cop who apparently has a name, like, they hear Steven and they run in. And, they all think that Sam and Dean got their hands on a gun or something and shot Steven, but, Sam tells them to check Steven's body and see that there's no blood, and that is true. And apparently Steven is, like, dead, though. So this demon's sort of just been piloting a dead body. Dean says that he's probably been dead for months, which means that this demon had to learn how to be an FBI agent for several months up until this point. I want to watch that sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't they have access to the memories and stuff? That's
true, but you still don't know what to do automatically, I think. Also, okay, if he's dead, if he's piloting a corpse, does he still have access to the memories?
That's true. Where do the memories reside? Is it just in the brain, or is it in some blah 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 blah?
But I think cell memory is considered to maybe be a thing, but I don't think it's complex enough to teach you how to be an FBI agent. Maybe some muscle memory stuff would help, but besides that. Yeah. So Sam tells Henriksen that Steven was possessed. And Henriksen's like, yeah, that's bullshit. We're gonna fly you away on the helicopter now. But then they find out from an officer outside that everyone in the parking lot has been slaughtered, including everyone in the helicopter. And there's, like, a whole explosion thing, and the helicopter lights on fire, and the dead officers wake up possessed by demons and start trying to murder people. Fun stuff.
So back in the office, Melvin, the sheriff, is, like, filling up his rifle, and Nancy is trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. That's so funny. She literally says, the internet is down and the phone is down. How are they all down? Love that for her.
Yeah.
Melvin, the sheriff, and, like, the deputy, I suppose, are all very adamant that they need to get out of there. Meanwhile, Henriksen is like, have some sense, you guys. Like, this is a siege. They're gonna come in here. So the best we can do is lock the doors and make sure that they don't. So the two cops are like, okay, fine. We'll follow your orders. And Nancy is just standing there terrified. So Henriksen and her have a little bonding moment where he tells her, I'll take care of you, like, don't worry. And Nancy's like, okay.
So, yeah, after the Nancy moment, we're back to Sam and Dean's cell. Sam's sort of trying to help patch Dean up. And Henriksen accuses them of getting back up to kill all those cops and bust them out. And Sam and Dean are like, no, I promise you that's not the case. Like, the people out there are, like, trying to hurt us too, and you should just let us out of this jail cell and then we can save you. Yeah. From demons? Probably. And Henriksen is just like, shut the fuck up, and leaves. Sam and Dean are terrible at convincing people of things. I don't see why they're always so insistent on going with the you have to believe us, there's demons route with someone for whom, like, it really will not work. Like, I feel like there are other techniques they could use to get what they want without sticking to their demons are real thing.
It's weird because they also are so insistent of not saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, of being like, we have to hide it from the civilians.
Yeah.
And then, like, somebody is like, I don't believe it. And they're like, why? Why don't you believe it? Why don't you believe me?
For real.
And it's like, make up your mind.
Yeah, it's confusing. And Sam and Dean noticed that Nancy's sort of in the corner looking at them. And Sam decides that he's gonna be the most unlikable man in the entire world. So he's, like, talking to her in, like, his ASMR voice or whatever, probably. And he's like, hi, oh, your name is Nancy, right? Hi, Nancy. Hey.
Literally like a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, Nancy, your mommy dressed you up so nice today. Can you get me a towel? God.
Literally.
Yeah, you're such a big girl now. Can you help me get a towel? Please? He says, please, just one clean towel. Like, God, get over yourself.
Please.
Please. Please. And then he does the whole fucking, like, look at us, we're not the bad guys thing. Oh, I wish they both died in this episode.
It's so funny because they're like, we're not the bad guys, believe us. And then he literally grabs her later and terrifies her to an inch of her life.
Yep.
Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. And Nancy comes back with the towel. And Sam's like, hey, it's okay, you can just give it to me inside of the, like, cell. Like, just put your hand through the bars. I won't bite, I promise my teeth aren't sharp.
I promise.
Yeah, so, like, there's, like, this really slow scene where she, like, gradually inches the towel inside, and Sam's doing a reassuring smile, and she does, like, a smile back, and then he fucking grabs her by the wrist and yanks her, like, right against the cell. Like, she's, like, yeah, and she's fucking screaming, obviously. And then a cop runs in with a gun and, like, yells at Sam to let her go. Yeah, and, you know, she's not having a good time, and then they leave. And Sam reveals that he did all of that in order to get her rosary. He could have asked. What? Okay, like, so, okay, the point of that is so that they can make holy water inside of the cell using the toilet and shit. Yeah. Yes. He could have asked. Like, she clearly is someone who would believe in demons. Like, they should have spent more time trying to convince her than Henriksen, because that one would have actually worked a little bit. But yeah, whatever. He's a dick. They have a rosary now.
So, like, back in the cell, Well, they're still in the cell. Sam and Dean are, like, trying to fix up Dean's wound, and they're complaining about how this is also pointless, we should be out there. And Melvin, the sheriff, comes in, and it's like, okay, get up, we're gonna go leave. And then Hendrickson is like, why? Why are we gonna do that? Like, this is a bad idea. And Melvin gets frustrated. And for a second, I think you're supposed to think that Melvin is possessed.
Right, and he's gonna take them out back and shoot them in the head like a lame horse.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Hendrickson pulls out a gun and shoots Melvin square in the forehead. And
Whoop.
Sam and Dean figure out that this guy is possessed.
Yeah.
And they put him in the toilet, dunk his head, and start exercising him. Why is the toilet necessary?
The rosary is in the toilet. It's like for the holy water to incapacitate.
No, I know, but like, why is the holy water necessary?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. They didn't do that with any of the other demons. They were just standing there, and it seemed like the exorcism, the pain of them being like taken out of their bodies was sufficient. Like, they didn't need to do that.
Yeah, I think this was just to weaken him so that he can't fight back while they're doing the exorcism. Or I think like if we're gonna go like what was Supernatural's intention, I think it's just to have a good shot of something.
Yeah.
It's just to have, like, it's to be visually appealing. But I can't really think of a reason for it to happen inside the show.
Yeah. Right.
We were just having fun. And it's like, even the rosary is unnecessary.
Yeah, it really is. But I don't know.
Like,
they
you
wanted
just scared the
scene.
crap.
Like, they
you just
wanted
scared the
scene of
crap
him
out of this
grabbing
Nancy.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Literally, why?
They needed to fill up the 40 minutes.
Yeah, but like, this one is a full 42.
Right, so we didn't need that. Oh well.
We didn't need that. Yeah. And Hendrickson, before he gets unpossessed, goes, "It's too late. I already called them. They're already coming." And then he gets unpossessed. I don't know what to call that even. The demon goes out of his body, I suppose. And Nancy asks, like, is he dead? Which is the first time she's spoken in this episode.
Shit, really? Oh my god, you're right. She's just been, like, silently whimpering her way
she said the internet is not connecting.
Oh, yeah, she did
say
that. That's true.
But when she said this, this is the first time she talked to anyone directly, I suppose. That one is just like, into the void, she's saying, why is the internet not working? Which is what I say all the time.
Yeah.
In my uni. But, she says, like, is he dead? And he's not. Hendrickson gets up, and he's visibly very shaken. And he explains that, like, he just lost. There was this black smoke that went into his throat. And then suddenly he's here, and Dean is like, yeah, you just got possessed. Oh, no, Sam says, you just got possessed. That's what it feels like. And Dean is like, should we say I told you so? What an asshole.
Yeah.
But eventually Hendrickson...
Not eventually, just immediately.
Immediately, like, removes their cuffs.
Which is so fucking stupid. Like, just because they were right about demons being real doesn't mean they haven't killed people. I don't know. I'm just really annoyed about this. Like, The fact that you just immediately go from, okay, demons are real, to, like, I'm sure that they never did anything illegal ever in their lives, and I was just being a big meanie the whole time, and I'm gonna release them immediately, and they're definitely not dangerous. Even though, like, we just had, like, Sam grab Nancy, like, 5 seconds ago. And, like, that, there's
Like, why
the
would
demons
you do
thing, like,
that?
they don't know yet that that was for a reason. Like, there's no reason to go from, okay, demons are real, to, I'm sure every harmful thing that I think they did was for a good reason, and that they're not dangerous, and that I should let them go. Like, that bothers me, that he doesn't question them any further. And, yeah, and I guess it, like, doubly bothers me because, like, Gordon never got his moment of, like, well, he was captured by the cops going, like, well, I was doing it to kill vampires and shit, and vampires are real. And I also think that even if, like, he proved to people who were questioning him that vampires are real, that he would not have been let go. For various reasons, also including that the main reason that they arrested him was just that he was out and about with guns, which is something Sam and Dean have done. They have been out and about with guns. So it's stupid. Henriksen's like, okay, I've decided that you're the best guys in the world and I'm never gonna question anything ever again, so you should tell us how to save our lives now. They're, like, spray painting a devil's trap on the floor. Well, Sam's doing that, while Dean's getting patched up by Nancy. Why? Why? Do secretaries need to have first aid training? Like, Sam was doing the patching up before.
He was doing the smiley thing.
He's clearly trying to flirt with her, and it's fucking annoying. First, I don't like that she's the one who's patching him up. I feel like if anyone here who has first aid experience, it's probably, like, some of the cops got first aid training, but it kind of feels like she's a pretty girl, so she has to be the one to patch him up now, because Sam's busy doing important demon trap things. Yeah, so Dean's directing them to get salt in order to block off the exits. Also, Dean says... Yeah. Oh, never mind. Yeah, Dean says that the guns that they have aren't gonna work. And Henriksen and some cops leave to go salt up all the doors and windows.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do they have so many salt?
Oh, it's road salt. Like, if... Okay, so, like, in the winter, if it snows or there's ice on the road, you salt the road in order to cause it to melt faster so that it's safer and people don't, like, trip and die. Yeah, it's all white, which is sad. Like, there's, like, pink and blue road salt as well that I see around. They could have had trans pride road salt, but, you know,
Literally.
Supernatural hates trans people, and that's the only reason why. So, Dean asks Nancy how she's holding up, and she says that she's doing okay. And she says that when she was little, she would come home from the church and start to talk about the devil, and her parents would tell her to stop being so literal. And then she goes like, I guess I showed them, huh? She didn't show them anything. Yeah, but she didn't really show them anything. The Wi-Fi has to come back for her to show them anything.
And she died before that happened.
She died before that happened, which is the greatest tragedy of our era. Dean says that, I'm gonna go out to my car because I have to get shit from it. So he does. He opens the Impala trunk. We see that there's a dream catcher in there, which of fucking course there is. Boo. And he's getting guns to fill with salt rounds, I'm assuming, and, like, some anti-possession necklaces and things. And also we get this wonderful CGI of purple and black
The transcript describes it as black smoke and blue and pink light. Literally evil transgender rights.
Yeah, coming towards him. The transgenderification beam is coming towards him.
Literally.
And he runs inside.
Yeah. So they're back in the police station. And yeah, like the building starts shaking because like the black smoke surrounds them and you think they're gonna be entered, blah 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 blah. And then it just stops. It stops and disappears. And they're like, everybody okay? And they're like, yeah, we're good. But like, what just happened? And then Dean started giving away freebies on the possession necklaces.
Yeah. They have a lot of them, right? Why do they have so many?
Well, maybe they used a lot back in the day until they realized that. And this is revealed for the first time this episode. They have tattoos. Anti-possession tattoos.
I'm sad that we never got to see when they got them. Like, that would have been a fun scene. I want to see them going, ow, owie. I mean, wait, no, I'm a man and I've never experienced pain before in my life. Yeah, we deserved a tattoo parlor scene. But if they
The ow remind me of the scene earlier that when Dean was like, that's painful. And Sam goes, don't be such a wuss.
God bless.
God bless.
Yeah. Only women and the homosexuals feel physical pain. This is a scientifically proven fact.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's more than 2 necklaces in there, though. So, like, they have, like, a lot of them. So I feel like it wasn't just for them. Maybe I don't know, were they just planning to be in situations where they would have to protect a large number of civilians? I guess that makes sense. Why don't they sell these, like, everywhere? Or why don't they start giving these out all the time? That seems more effective even than just hunters, like, going around trying to get demons.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I suppose.
Or there needs to be a combination of both efforts. It doesn't make sense to have all your efforts centered around demon killing. Diversify your portfolio, etc.
Literally. It's like they don't even know how to diversify their portfolio. Anyway, they peek out the window and Nancy goes, that's Jenna Rubner. And Sam goes, that's not Jenna anymore. So funny. And then this one guy, like, who's inside, like, the other cop, like, goes and peeks over the window and then destroys the salt line. So stupid.
Yeah, does it ever really become a big deal that he's possessed by a demon or whatever they're trying to show here?
No, he's not possessed.
Wait, why is he breaking the salt line then?
He just broke it.
Like, accidentally?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Right. It sort of looked like it was on purpose, but yeah, I think it was probably just an accident.
I think he was just looking out the window.
Right, they're loading up their salt guns and things. And we have a Dean Victor scene.
Yeah, exactly. The Dean Victor scene.
The Dean Victor scene. So, Henriksen's sort of remarking on the outlandishness of his situation, and Dean starts listing off a bunch of other supernatural creatures that are real. And Henriksen goes, you know what my job is? And Dean goes, you mean besides locking up the good guys? I have no idea. So, Henriksen starts going into his boo-hoo, being an FBI agent is so hard thing. Where he says that, he's bored and he's frustrated and you can only save a few people and he's been working for 15 years, and he's never realized the whole time that there's something off in the corner that's so much bigger than all of that. So, like, they're sort of setting up Hunter Henriksen being a potential future for him
Literally, like, he's like...
Yeah. Like,
he literally was like, I feel disillusioned, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I should become a hunter.
Yeah.
And then they kill him. At the end of the episode.
They kill him.
Bro.
Yeah, and similarly for Nancy, they set up that she's gonna have sex after this, and then they kill her. And these are equally as bad.
Literally.
Yeah, so Henriksen asks, like, what's out there and can you guys win? And Dean goes, honestly, I think the world's gonna end bloody, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't fight. We do have choices. I choose to go down swinging. Also Henriksen says, and yeah, also because you have nothing to go home to but your brother. I bet a subset of the fandom loved that one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Dean asks about Henriksen's personal life, and he apparently has no friends, he lives alone, and he has a string of angry ex-wives. What did you do to your ex-wives, Henriksen? I think the implication is probably just that he was too busy for work to, like, focus on them. But he had to get new ones each time to get that many.
Yeah. He's literally Wilson coded for real.
No, yeah. God, you're right. Ugh. Where's his house? Dean could be his house, but it's over by the end of this episode. Yeah. He says, I'm right where you are. And they're, like, looking at each other, and Dean goes, like, imagine that. And, like, they do kind of want to fuck each other so bad it makes them look stupid is the thing. Yeah.
It's the thing.
Unfortunately, the moment is broken by somebody coming in, and we can't see who it is yet, but we find out very soon that it's Ruby!
Hi, Ruby!
Hi, Ruby!
And Sam is like, don't shoot. She's here to help us. Why am I so, like, ew? I'm literally a Sam Ruby shipper.
Yeah.
I literally am a Sam Ruby shipper. It's the thing.
They are pretty compelling.
They are pretty compelling. And Ruby's like... I think one of them is like, she's a demon. And Sam is like, she's here to help. It's fine. And Sam rubs out the... What do you call it? The...
Devil's Trap.
Painted on Devil's Trap. And Ruby says, and they say chivalry is dead. Ooh, I love her. I'm normal, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm so normal about Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, does anyone have a breath mint? Some guts splattered in my mouth while I was killing my way in here. She's so cool.
She is so cool.
And then she goes to the office, and Dean starts interrogating her. How many are there? There's 30, maybe at least. Yeah. And Dean goes like, who sent them? And Ruby is like, oh, Sam, you didn't tell Dean? Okay, first of all, do we ever know that Ruby tells Sam about Lilith? I completely forgot if that's the case.
Right, I think when Dean's not present, Tammy tells Sam about Lilith in 310 when he's like pressed against the wall. But yeah, I don't think we have a debrief scene.
I don't think
with Ruby
we mentioned a name. I don't think we mentioned a name.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Prior to today. But and Ruby goes, there's a new like person, an up and comer, real Pied Piper. And Dean asks, Who is he? And Ruby goes, not he, her. Which I thought was so funny.
Who is her?
Love that. Literally no sense of subject or object pronoun difference. So she goes, not he, her. Her name is Lilith. Yeah, baby. And Ruby says, and she really, really, really wants Sam's intestines on a stick.
Relatable.
And Dean gets mad at Sam, like, why didn't you tell me this? Blah, blah, blah. And Ruby goes, can you guys talk later? I don't really give a fuck about your argument. We just need the colt. And silence. And Ruby kind of figures out. And she goes, where's the colt? And Sam goes, it got stolen. And Ruby goes, I'm sorry. I must have blood in my ear. I just heard you say that you were stupid enough to let the colt be grabbed out of your thick, clumsy, idiotic hands.
Woo! I love her!
Yeah. Love her. And she's, obviously very pissed. And Sam is like, Ruby, no! And Ruby tells him to shut up.
Yeah. I'm so sad that Ruby and Bella never meet each other.
Do they never? I was like, this episode, maybe they will. But alas,
they
maybe
don't.
not.
I don't think they ever do. Like, maybe the next 4 episodes will prove me wrong, but I don't think they do.
Holy shit.
Sad.
4 episodes? Did I hear that right?
Well,
it's episode 12 today?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh my god, we're about to meet him.
Yeah, we are.
I'm so excited. Anyway, Ruby says, well, that's fine. I know a spell that will vaporize every demon in a 1-mile radius, myself included. Yeah. So she says, like, you lose the cult and now I have to die. So next time, be more careful. How's that for a dying wish? Will she literally die?
I mean, she seems to think so, but, like, can't she just leave the instructions with someone and then jet? Like, does she have to be the one to perform the spell?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I think she says later that the spell is very specific.
So I guess so.
So maybe it requires her to do it. Yeah. Anyway, Dean is like, well, I can help. And she goes, no, you can't. We need a person of virtue. And Dean goes, I have virtues. And she goes, yeah, tough luck. You're not a virgin.
This is the first time you're not a virgin has been used as an insult ever. And it's very effective. It's very fun to see her say that in a mean way. And
Dean is like, nobody's a virgin.
God, he's
That's
so
mean
stupid.
of you to say. Yeah. And
he just seems so unable to comprehend the idea that someone hasn't had sex. Like in 503, like, he's also so shocked at the idea that Cass has never had sex, even though he's, like, literally an angel. Like, Dean doesn't even know yet that, like, angels can have sex, like, with each other or whatever, but he still seems so shocked at the idea, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. And, basically, what you're building up to this entire episode with Nancy is that she's a virgin. So she can sacrifice herself. And before they go into the, like, oh, I need to die for this spell, Dean goes into a whole tirade about, like, wait, you're a virgin? How are you a virgin? Not even once? I mean, not even...
God.
So annoying. He's so annoying.
He's 5 seconds away from, like, like, proposing that she no longer be a virgin and that he can help her out with that.
Nancy goes, "What can I do for the spell?" And Ruby says, "You can hold still as I cut your heart out of your chest." And Dean and Nancy is like, "What?" And Dean is like, "What?" But even more offended for her.
Yeah.
And and he goes, "You're crazy." And Ruby goes, "Well, I'm offering a solution." Dean says, "That's not a solution. You're killing somebody." And Ruby is like, "Well, if the demons come in, she's gonna die anyway." Which does make sense.
Yeah.
And Henriksen says, "We're gonna protect her, so it's fine." And Nancy starts speaking up, and she says, "Will it save all the people outside?" And Ruby says, "Yes." And Nancy says, "Okay, I'll do it." And it starts an argument where Henriksen and Dean both are like, no, we can't do it. We can't do it. And Nancy says, "And this makes me sad. Like, all my friends are out there."
Yeah.
And Henriksen says, "We don't sacrifice people." And Ruby interjects that they don't really have a choice because it's either sacrifice one person or everybody else is, like, in danger. And Ruby goes to Sam and says, "Sam, you know I'm right." And Sam just stays quiet. Like he is this entire episode.
Yep.
And at least here there's a point why he's quiet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sam's also quiet when Dean is also going like, "Sam, no, you agree with me, right?" So I feel like we're supposed to think that Sam is mostly on Ruby's side here, but he just doesn't want to say it out loud.
No, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. There's a point to him being quiet here.
Right, yeah.
Unlike, when they're talking to Henriksen where he's just quiet for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
I think maybe the implication there is since Dean is older, he's like the one who's responsible for, how like when, for example, you and your little sibling.
Yeah.
When you're talking to someone, you tend to be the talker, right?
Is that still a rule when you're, like, in your 20s?
Yeah, I feel like.
Really?
In my 20s. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that that's a thing. Especially because, Dean's the one who's always running his mouth when he talks to cops, and Sam's the one who knows to just go, like, "I want a lawyer and I'm not gonna speak." Like, I don't think that Sam would... It doesn't make sense that Sam and Dean would have an unspoken agreement that Dean has the authority in this situation, so Sam won't say anything. I feel like it's just bad writing.
Yeah, perhaps. Anyway, Nancy says, "It's my decision." And Ruby agrees. And Dean is like, No, stop. Nobody kill any virgins. And Sam, I need to talk to you. And they talk. And Sam says, "We're considering 30 people. Innocent people who are all gonna die." And Dean says, "It doesn't mean that we throw away the rule book. And stop acting like humans." Didn't they kill someone like 2 episodes ago?
They did. They did kill someone 2 episodes ago. And they did not think twice about it. It was not even considered to be a bad thing. And Sarah Gamble wrote that one too.
Yeah. And Dean says, "I'm not gonna let that demon kill some nice, sweet, innocent girl who hasn't even been laid yet.
And especially not by me yet.
Not by me. I mean, look, if that's how you win wars, then I don't want to win." So, like, specifically, he doesn't want to win wars if girls who are virgins are gonna be killed.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
And then he goes like, I have a plan. It might not work, but at least it's something else. And then he says that the plan is to open all the doors and let everyone in. And then fight.
Why? Okay.
You know what I'm more confused about?
Why don't they go
Why
outside?
didn't they... No, because they need everyone inside for the exorcism.
Okay, sure, yeah.
I was more confused about the fact that they opened 3 doors. Like, just open one.
Right, so you can
Right?
just stand right in front of it and shoot.
Yeah, like, all 3 of you can just stand right in front of it and shoot. I mean, Henriksen literally gets knocked out, like, by the first demon that comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
We cut to a bit later, and they've set up a bunch of stuff. And Ruby says, by the way, this isn't gonna work, and I'm leaving. And Sam's like, huh, why? And Ruby says, I was gonna kill myself to help you win. I'm not gonna stand here and watch you lose. And she tells Sam specifically that she's really disappointed in him because she tried really hard to, like, save him and all that shit, but she's clearly bet on the wrong horse. Which, I guess is... Like, she hasn't been clear or open about her motivations throughout this season, but I feel like this is a pretty good hint of, like, she's been doing this because she wants Sam to be the next leader of Hell instead of Lilith, sort of thing. And she leaves the Devil's Trap. She walks outside, where there's, like, the 30 demons, and she tells them, I'm leaving, who wants to stop me? And they just let her pass because she's so cool. As they should.
Yeah.
And now, you know, they're all at the doors, and they open them, they break the salt lines and all of that stuff. And then the demons start coming in. Yeah, like you said, one just, like, knocks out Henriksen very quickly. And they start fighting. Henriksen has, like, holy water and stuff. And there's a scene where him and Dean are fighting each other where they're, like, standing back to back with their guns drawn.
Yeah.
And they, like, shoot simultaneously, and they, like, turn to look at each other, and their faces are really close. So,
and it's like Dean is loading his gun, so Henriksen shoots his target for him type of situation, and it's like, okay, got it.
Alright, okay. Yeah.
I see.
I'm looking. Yeah, and even without the homoeroticism, it's yet another, like, sort of like, oh, they fight well together, he should become a hunter and join them moment that they're sort of teasing, but no, he dies. So, you know, it's just more fighting, and then, like, Nancy and some cop are on a roof, and Nancy says, when this is over, I'm gonna have so much sex. And then she tells the cop, but not with you. So,
good for her.
Good for her. I don't know. This is annoying. This seems to just be going into, like, Dean's, like, normative notions of what people are supposed to do with their lives. Because, like Nancy says earlier, like, it's a choice to not have sex, but now it's like, oh, but, like, obviously everyone really wants to, and anyone who's not having sex is just holding themselves back for bad reasons, and, like, when it comes down to it, they'll realize that they do want to, and they will. It's annoying. But, yeah. So, that's, like, we don't see much of Nancy after this. Sorry, Nancy. Sorry that this was your
understatement.
Yeah, so, more fighting. Nancy and the cop are, like, in charge of salt duty to try to trap the demons inside of the office. Uh, Sam and Dean are fighting, blah, blah, blah. And then Dean yells, Henriksen, now! And Henriksen manages to fight a demon enough to press play on a tape, and it's a recording of Sam saying an exorcism, and it comes from the speakers inside of the office, it works. It does work.
It works. Yeah.
It works. The demons get exorcised. They're screaming, crying, throwing up, blah, 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 blah. Also, okay, so, like, the demons are covering their ears when the exorcism happens, which implies that if their vessel can't hear it, it doesn't work. Like, so if a demon took, like, a deaf vessel, are they incapable of being exorcised now?
Oh my god, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, Eileen should never get possessed, but wouldn't that be a little bit fun? But yeah. Or I really like the ideas of Eileen coming back from hell as a demon. So yeah, that would also be fun. But yeah, anyway, I do want to know about the specifics of what works for an exorcism or not, because I don't see why they don't all just have a phone recording and just have it playing all the time. Like, be your annoying neighborhood boombox guy, but, like, with an exorcism. But yeah, so, explosion of light, everyone gets exorcised, and, people pass out, and the electricity comes back on, so they're safe.
Yeah. And Henriksen much later, talks about how this is a story. This is one hell of a story, but he's not gonna be able to tell it. And he says what he's gonna tell people is that you guys, Sam and Dean died in the helicopter when it exploded, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, is he gonna blame the deaths of Steven and the sheriff that he shot on Sam and Dean as well? Before
Maybe.
they got into the helicopter? Yeah, because there's, like, quite a bit of a mess to clean up here.
Yeah. Anyway, later, again, it's, the cop and Henriksen and Nancy in the room.
Yeah.
And a little girl and, like, a mom, a woman, walks into the station.
Yeah.
The little girl goes up to Nancy and says, I'm looking for two boys. They're brothers. One of them is really tall and the other one's really cute.
What?
Boo!
Boo! I hate Sarah Gamble. I hate her so much. Whatever. There's nothing to say about it. Something's wrong with everyone's head. The end.
And Nancy just laughs and says, what's your name, sweetie? And the little girl goes, Lilith. And her eyes turn white. And then she extends her hand, and the bright light fills the room.
Yep. And everyone screams.
And yeah. And then Sam and Dean, who were in a motel, and sleeping, gets greeted by Ruby, who enters the room and says, turn on the television. They do. And a few hours ago, there was a gas main that was ruptured that exploded an entire building and claimed the lives of everyone. Among the deceased, the sheriff, the deputy, secretary, 3 FBI agents, and Sam and Dean. Ruby goes, considering the size of the blast, it must have been Lilith. And then she gives Sam and Dean like a pouch each and says that it's for protection so that Lilith can be thrown off their trail. And Sam goes, thanks. And Ruby, who is pissed as all hell, goes, "Don't take me. Lilith killed everyone. She slaughtered your precious little virgin and half a dozen other people. So apparently, after your big speech about humanity and war, your plan was the one with the body count. Next time, let's go with mine."
Yeah. Hey, remember in Night Shifter when that random guy died and we had slow-mo and Dean basically sobbing over his body?
Yeah.
And now, like,
You're my
Henriksen,
best
a
friend.
recurring character, has, like, the most nothing death, like, in the world.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah. Sad.
Okay, what now that we've discussed everything, what are our thoughts?
I don't know. It happened.
It literally is an episode that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Best line, worst line.
Yeah, shit. Oh god, there were lines in this episode.
I don't even know what the lines are.
I think, I don't know, maybe when Ruby leaves and she says, you know, I was gonna kill myself to help you win. I'm not gonna stand here and watch you lose. And she also says that she clearly bet on the wrong horse. I feel like it's a good hint into her motivations and how strongly she believes in certain things. So yeah, good for her.
And it's quite emotional too, because at this point, Sam and Ruby, maybe not necessarily romantic, but they do have a connection.
Yeah.
And I think it does mean something for Sam to hear the words, like, "I made a mistake believing in you," from Ruby.
Yeah. And also the fact that she was willing to sacrifice her life to save them, like, should have been given more weight in this episode, because they, like, Sam and Dean are not nice to her a lot of the time. Dean tried to kill her a lot until he had a little bit of a turning point in 309. But, like, I feel like they're still, like, oh, like, you know, she has ulterior motives and she's, like, evil and blah, blah, blah. I feel like, being willing to sacrifice yourself to save them is such a, like, unselfish action that it should have made them really reckon with how they've been thinking about Ruby this entire season, but I don't know, we don't get much of that.
Yeah. For me, my best line is when Hendrickson wakes up and he goes, "I shot the sheriff." And Dean goes, "But you didn't shoot the deputy." I know that's a reference to something else, but in my mind, it's a reference to Supernatural, and it's like a very poignant as in, like, I remember it line from Supernatural.
Yeah.
So, I think it's funny. I don't even know why it's funny. I know it's a reference, but I don't know what it's a reference to. But do I even need to know anything to find it funny? Perhaps, but perhaps not also.
Yeah.
So that's my best line.
Nice.
What's your worst line?
I don't know. The whole sweet, innocent girl who hasn't even been laid yet.
Yeah, that's something.
Sorry, we're not the bad guys. That one's stupid as all hell.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When Lilith was like, one of them is really tall and one of them is really cute, I literally booed.
Yeah.
I literally booed. Like, I was like, why are you assigning Sam ugly? You're
that was
so
your problem
mean.
with the situation.
That was my problem. What was your problem with the situation?
My problem is just the hordes of, like, supernatural women who all, like, wanna fuck Dean and or Sam so bad. Like, I don't know. Can we not have a villain who appears and has zero levels of, like, flirtatiousness? She is in a child vessel, but she's
as a little kid.
But she's, like, still, like, hundreds or thousands of years old. Like, I think it's still just the, like, every time a female villain shows up on Supernatural, she has to acknowledge that she's doing this despite how attractive Sam and Dean are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, for me, because I guess I'm not seeing this as, like, someone who already knows Lilith. You know, like, this scene for me is just, like, separate from all that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing this more as, like, she's putting on, like, a little girl persona, and part of that is, like, having a crush on like some
serial
guy who's
killer
cute.
on the FBI
yeah,
most wanted list.
Wanted by the FBI. And I'm just offended that this little girl's fake crush, this wait, I'm gonna say that again. I'm just offended that this fake persona of a little girl that Lilith is putting on has a fake crush on Dean Winchester instead of Sam. That's what I'm offended about.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. So, spreadsheet.
Yes, spreadsheet. Let's see. Misogyny. I don't like the way they handled Nancy very much.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a 1 on that front?
I think a 1 will work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How about everything else? I think we have a 0 for everything else.
Yeah. I mean, like, I do think that it is, like, a larger supernatural race problem that they killed Henriksen, but I don't know how to assign Supernatural's general miasma of racism a number for this specific episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How about IMDb rating?
People like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 8.7?
I would go an 8.8.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
What?
Can you guess again?
It's, like, way higher than either of those? I'm assuming.
Just guess.
9.0?
9.3.
What? Is it that good? Like, it just happened. It's just an episode that happened.
It's literally just an episode that happened.
I guess it's a lot more action-oriented than the others. People might have found it more exciting.
Yeah. My personal favorite episode for several reasons.
Okay.
What
are the reasons?
I always find it nice when the boys are finally recognized as the heroes that they are. Especially from the authorities that hunted the boys thinking they were murderous monster serial killers.
Who?
When the people that misjudge Sam and Dean realize that there are real monsters out there and the two brothers have been fighting to keep everyone safe all this time, you know you're in for a great episode and life-altering changes within established characters.
I take an issue with the word misjudge. It just makes it seem like they were like overlooking things because of personal biases. I don't think monsters aren't real as a personal bias.
Yeah. Yeah, one of these says it's the best, one of all the all-time best episodes of the series.
What year was that in? How many episodes were around at that point?
2018.
What? So Cass had existed at this point, and this is one of the top 10 best episodes in the series? Cool. Alright.
I don't think we talk enough about how the moral dilemma of, like, one person versus a lot of people versus blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I don't really care.
The trolley problem exists already. We've been over it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I like that it ended with them being like, we probably made the wrong decision.
I like that, too. It's sort of similar to the moral dilemmas they had with Bella's plans in the boat episode, Red Sky at Morning.
Yeah. And
I like that they were wrong both times.
Yeah, but Bella was like, you're wrong too. You know, like they were painting Bella as wrong too that
That's
time.
true in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing feels rushed, less than the sum of its part.
Agreed.
The S episode had to wrap up the Hendrickson storyline, introduce Lilith, and tell the cause of a war siege story. Oh, and provide a delay in the Bella storyline. All these various plot threads are shortchanged because of how much the episode is trying to do. The boys' big fight about the morality takes all of 30 seconds, and the resolution of the siege feels like a narrative cheat.
A bit, yeah.
This should have been split into 2 episodes. This is one place where season 3 being short really hurts the show.
Huh, okay, there's someone who's theorizing the warning I think I figured this season out reviewer.
What?
They said, a few things I figured out. Ruby is a plant pushing Sam. All of Ruby's help is to gain their trust. That's true, I guess. Everything else is lies, comma. Demons lie. What a evil solution Ruby had for the problem. Sam would have turned dark side listening to Ruby. Bella is involved with the scheme. Bella told Dean she was not going to sell the cult, but stole the cult for other reason. I think Dean is going to kill Sam after watching the Mystery Squad show. What? Yeah. And yeah, that's my main theories for this season. Starting off sort of correct. I love the idea that Bella and Ruby are like teamed up behind the scenes. I love that. I would have loved to see that. And also,
this person should have been in the writer's room.
Yeah. Dean is going to kill Sam after watching the Mystery Spot show. So true.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it for this episode of Busty Beauties. Next week, we will be discussing Season 3, Episode 13. Ghost Phasers.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Ghost Phasers, yeah. Yeah. Leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts.
Follow us on social media. We are on Twitter at twitter.com/beautiespodcast and on Tumblr at bustyasianbeautiespod.tumblr.com. Our official tag is BABPOD, BABPod. Thank you to everyone who's donated to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/bustyasianbeautiespod. And check out our merch at babpod.redbubble.com.
Yeah. You can leave us any feedback, comments, or inquiries at bustyasianbeautiespod@gmail.com. See you guys next time. Bye!